You can almost feel the raw power emanating from the spectators as a man named Carter utterly dominates the ring. He is a genuine force in nature, conquering bout after devastating bout with formidable strength. Abruptly, a resolute woman named Frankie steps into this chaotic world, and you can tell she means business. She is seeking to hire Carter as security for her establishment. Frankie is certainly captivated as she watches him knock out his adversary, clinching his sixth straight win. The referee then makes an announcement that raises the stakes significantly. He announces that anyone who can defeat Carter will win all the money in the evening's prize pool. From the darkness, an enigmatic figure in a hoodie volunteers, entering the ring to challenge the champion. But when he lowers that hood, Carter's whole disposition changes in a moment of pure astonishment. Oh my, he will not engage this man because this is none other than the legendary Dalton. The reveal of his identity makes for a dramatic character entrance. The official tries to convince Carter with the large cash prize, but it is no use. Carter retreats, leaving the ring and forfeiting the winnings to Dalton. Observing this phenomenal scene transpire, Frankie experiences a flash of brilliant insight. She realizes the man who won without fighting is the person she needs to hire. As Dalton walks to his car, his victory is nearly cut short. He is confronted by a man who lost money betting against him. In a startling act of cowardice, the fella actually wounds Dalton with a blade. Yet Dalton's response is the most composed thing you will ever observe in your entire life. He serenely, almost casually asks his assailant, "Are you certain you considered all the consequences?" The man is so petrified by Dalton's total absence of fear that he becomes intensely agitated and just flees. He even leaves his blade behind as he flees. While Dalton tends to his injury, Frankie approaches him. She is impressed that he won the prize money without having to fight. She admits it took her a moment to recognize the well-known fighter. As they converse, he actually patches himself up, stunning her with how calmly he manages a fresh injury. Frankie is utterly astounded by his fortitude and poise under duress. She tells him she owns a roadhouse that has recently fallen on hard times. It has started to attract a rough clientele, and the local police will not get involved. Her initial plan was to recruit Carter to help sort out the chaos, but now she perceives a far superior choice. Frankie offers him $5,000 a week for the job, but he declines. Before leaving, she gives him her number in case he changes his mind. Dalton proceeds into the night, totally consumed by his own thoughts and tormented by his past as a professional combatant. He is apparently so dejected and distressed that he does something genuinely unimaginable. In an instant of utter desperation, he pilots his vehicle directly onto the railway, right in the course of an approaching train. He drives his car onto the tracks in front of an oncoming train. However, he has a change of heart, but when he tries to leave, the car will not start. After a few intensely stressful moments at trying to get the old automobile running, the train collides with it with tremendous force. Dalton miraculously emerges with hardly a scratch, a testament to his extraordinary fortune or destiny. With no other options, he decides to call Frankie. Dalton arrives in the town of Glass Key and meets a teenage girl named Charlie. She manages a bookshop with her father, and they are both so exceptionally kind to this enigmatic newcomer. They are surprised to learn he is there to handle the problems at the roadhouse. Charlie and her father give him directions to the establishment. When Dalton arrives at the roadhouse, he is immediately recognized. The server, a fantastic fellow named Billy, knows precisely who he is and is a huge admirer. The establishment seems quiet for the moment, and Dalton comments on how calm it is. Laura, the barista, laughs at his comment, knowing the quiet will not last. And naturally, she is entirely correct as a colossal brawl erupts that very evening. Bottles and glassware soar through the air in a dramatic exhibition of pandemonium. The live band is shielded by a safety net, separating them from the crowd. Soon after, a motorcycle gang arrives and begins harassing the patrons and the women. Billy intervenes to protect a young woman, and the gang begins to threaten him. This is the moment Dalton steps in, endeavoring to defuse the whole situation calmly. As the tension mounts to a fever pitch, he requests the gang join him outside to converse. The group's leader, Dell, rejects his request to talk outside. So Dalton, in a display of pure tactical brilliance, ventures outside and begins toppling their prized motorcycles. This clever maneuver compels them all to follow him outdoors, precisely as he intended. Beyond the bar, Dalton offers them one final opportunity to depart in peace, which is remarkably magnanimous of him. He even jests with them, inquiring about their health coverage and the proximity to the nearest hospital. It is a wonderfully amusing moment right before the imminent conflict. Mo, one of the gang members, begins giving him directions to the hospital. Dalton then proceeds to slap the gang members one by one in a staggering show of dominance. When they attempt to retaliate, he answers with powerfully hard strikes, even shattering one fellow's nose again. He then astonishingly offers to declare the fight a draw, attempting to give them an escape. Dell rejects the offer and is knocked unconscious. In a gesture of astounding compassion, Dalton borrows Frankie's vehicle to transport the wounded bikers to the hospital. He then helps them fill out their medical forms. As he is leaving, a physician intercepts him, and it is the wonderful Ellie. She wryly thanks him for populating her emergency room with a group of fools. His delightful sense of humor instantly catches her by surprise and even coaxes a smile from her. When she sees his injury, she offers to help treat it. While tending to him, she inquires if he genuinely enjoys conflict, sparking a deeply meaningful conversation. Dalton confides in her that ultimately nobody ever truly wins a fight. He declines her offer to stitch the injury, stating it was his own doing and he must bear the consequence. This moment reveals more about his character. Returning to the roadhouse, Frankie gives Dalton his pay for the week. He mentions a houseboat he saw and says he wants to rent it instead of staying in a motel. Frankie informs him that it is in fact her boat and, in a marvelous gesture, allows him to stay there without charge. She does, nevertheless, caution him to be wary of a crocodile, which is both comical and frightening. That evening on the boat, he has flashbacks to his past in the UFC. The next morning, Dalton goes to Charlie's bookshop to use the computer. Even in that place, people are already talking excitedly about his phenomenal fight with the motorcycle gang. While he is there, some of the bikers begin causing trouble at a nearby shop. The instant they spot Dalton emerge, they promptly retreat in fear. His reputation as a protector is growing quickly. Meanwhile, on a yacht, the man who hired the bikers receives the news. This leader, a spoiled man-child named Brant, is enraged that Dalton thwarted his schemes. He is so juvenile that he hurls his phone into the sea when his father telephones from prison. Returning to the roadhouse, another brawl erupts, sparking a clever idea in Dalton. He decides to teach Billy some fighting techniques so he can work as security. He also observes that another employee, Reef, bears the marks of a fighter on his knuckles. Dalton decides to have Billy and Reef work together as a security team. In this manner, the clever Dalton can recline and unwind even more while his new squad manages the disturbances. One evening, Dalton has another nightmare about his last UFC match. The following morning, he encounters the delightful Ellie once more at a neighborhood cafe. Their playful repartee is utterly captivating, and she describes how the town's allegiances are exceptionally profound. Later, while Dalton is walking, a vehicle suddenly speeds up and nearly hits him. It is Dell, the motorcycle gang leader, who backs up and smashes his truck into Dalton. The truck remains dangling dangerously from a bridge, yet Dalton miraculously survives. When he returns to the houseboat, Dell is there waiting for him with a shotgun. But Dalton acts with lightning speed, flipping a table into Dell's knees and sending him into the water. Just as Dalton attempts to conclude things peacefully, the crocodile Frankie cautioned him about appears. It is a truly jarring moment as the crocodile attacks and consumes Dell right before his eyes. The next day, a man tells Dalton that his boss, Ben Brant, wants to see him. When the man reveals a weapon, Dalton calmly forewarns him of what is about to occur. He then proves his point by breaking the man's fingers with breathtaking quickness and emptying his firearm. Meanwhile, in Italy, we meet the most deranged character ever, a merciless fighter named Knox. He has been hired by Brant's father to handle the situation his son created. While all this unfolds, Ellie takes Dalton out on a vessel for a romantic picnic. They share a genuinely lovely moment, and she informs him that she has looked into his tragic past and accepts him fully. Just then, Knox descends upon Glass Key like a tempest, immediately commandeering Brant's entire crew. He is a frightening farce of nature, toting a duffel bag filled with sticks of dynamite. Later, Dalton is confronted by the town sheriff, who is Ellie's father. He makes threats to Dalton, ordering him to leave town or he will ensure he is killed in prison. In a fantastic show of loyalty, Ellie appears and slaps her father across the face for menacing Dalton. While this family conflict plays out, Brant's men commit a truly despicable act by setting fire to Charlie's cherished bookshop. That evening, Brant appears at the roadhouse to meet with Dalton. Brant then sets loose the crazed Knox and the whole biker gang on the roadhouse. Knox strolls in and begins wrecking the place, single-handedly defeating both Billy and Reef. Dalton, who was merely trying to enjoy a quiet cup of coffee, is finally compelled to get up and face the madman. The initial battle between Dalton and Knox is an absolutely epic, savage brawl that moves outside the bar. Dalton is getting ready to depart town for good, but then he spots the ruinous fire at the bookstore. This is his definitive turning point, the moment he grasps he cannot flee any longer. He tracks down the man accountable for the fire and eliminates him in an instant of cold, calculated rage. Dalton then intercepts a large cash payment that an officer was delivering to Brandt. He knocks the cop unconscious and arranges the scene to imply the officer killed the arsonist. The sheriff then deceives Dalton, telling him that Brandt has abducted Ellie and demands the money back. Dalton consents to meet Brandt on his yacht, leading to an incredibly suspenseful showdown. It proves to be a massive betrayal, but then it is uncovered that Brandt did in fact kidnap Ellie after all. Knox arrives on another vessel, adding a whole new dimension of utter insanity to the circumstances. Dalton manufactures a terrific diversion by detonating the boat he was operating. He battles his way through Brandt's henchmen as the entire yacht starts to sink into the sea. Brandt seizes Ellie and speeds off in another boat, heading directly for the roadhouse to demolish it. Knox gives chase to Dalton in a boat, resulting in a sensational maritime pursuit. Dalton vaults onto Brandt's vessel just as Brandt drives it straight into the roadhouse. Inside the debris, Dalton confronts Brandt, but then Knox smashes a car through the wall for the final confrontation. The fight between them is long and destructive. Knox gets the upper hand and injures Dalton with a piece of wood. But when the irritating Brandt commands Knox to complete the task, Knox becomes fed up and targets him instead. This brief distraction provides Dalton with the opening he desperately required. Dalton removes the stake from his own midsection and stabs Knox with it repeatedly in a shocking finale. The sheriff arrives and tells Dalton he will cover for him, but Dalton has to leave town. In the last touching scene, Dalton's bus pulls up to take him away from Glass Key forever. He bids a silent farewell to Charlie, leaving behind the briefcase full of cash for her and her father to rebuild their lives. His gesture of quiet generosity is one of the most touching moments in the whole movie. The bus drives away, and Dalton's future is uncertain. The story opens with a truly vibrant atmosphere that you can sense through the screen. We are quickly introduced to the powerhouse combatant Carter, who is on a remarkable winning streak. Frankie's search for a bouncer brings her to this magnificent spectacle of raw strength. The tension in the air is completely palpable when the prize money is offered for one ultimate match. Dalton's entrance is a moment of pure cinematic splendor, altering the entire feeling of the scene. Carter's reaction of sheer awe and respect for Dalton says everything about his legendary reputation. It is just so captivating that Dalton wins the whole prize without having to move a single muscle. The subsequent stabbing incident is a shocking disturbance, but Dalton's calm reaction is what really defines him. You have to admire Frankie's courage in approaching a man who is literally removing a blade from his own body. Her proposition is a lifeline, but Dalton's initial rejection adds such a compelling layer of mystery to his persona. The scene on the railway is an utterly heartbreaking glimpse into his personal anguish. His survival is a stunning miracle that puts him on an entirely new course. His arrival in Glass Key feels like the beginning of a fabled folk tale, with Charlie and her father as the benevolent guides. The instant recognition from Billy at the roadhouse is such a wonderful and entertaining moment. Dalton's brilliant strategy of using the bikers' own machines against them is the stuff of legend. His choice to not only vanquish his foes, but then take them to the hospital is an act of unparalleled principle. The introduction of Ellie is flawless, providing a spark of wit and romance amid the turmoil. Dalton's philosophy that no one ever wins a fight is a profoundly sorrowful and beautiful insight into his spirit. The houseboat becomes his haven, a place of tranquility constantly threatened by the nightmares of his history. It is so gratifying to see the bikers, who were so cocky before, tremble in fear at the simple sight of Dalton. Ben Brandt is established as the ideal sort of villain you just delight in despising, all vanity and no substance. Dalton's mentoring of Billy and Reef is a terrific subplot, demonstrating his capacity to build a team and motivate others. The crocodile incident is one of the most unforeseen and wildly amusing moments in the entire film. Knox is a truly memorable adversary, a whirlwind of charisma and pure, unfiltered pandemonium. The final sequence on the yacht and at the roadhouse is an absolute showcase of action filmmaking. Every punch, every collision, and every explosion is designed for maximum heart-racing effect. Dalton's ultimate triumph is hard-won and deeply gratifying, a perfect finish to his savage journey. His quiet exit, leaving behind a gift that will alter lives, is the perfect bittersweet conclusion for a true champion.